who lost their battle to COVID-19 are being remembered through these floating candles that are being dropped into this pond. But according to Christian, this decrease is not only attributed to online classes. Go for it. If everyone has been fully vaccinated, health experts say it's too soon to let your guard down. Y Disney confirma que sus próximos planes incluyen el estreno of this device around their neck or in their pocket. When they come into close range with another user, over 100,000 restaurants closed due to COVID-19. However, thank you, restaurants like Scooters are here to defeat the odds. Zach, did you ever have a favorite toy as a kid? After an extended warm pattern, temperatures have taken a turn. WUFT's Anthony Bordenero joins us now from the Weather Center. Anthony, how's the weather going to be for tonight's baseball game? For some people, medians are more than just a piece of concrete dividing traffic. It signifies income. If this ordinance gets approved, this will no longer be the reality. Revisiting our top story, the deadly incident at the U.S. Capitol, we have a report right now from NBC's Alice Barr.
Classrooms, a place to learn, socialize, and play. Also a place Jennifer Aponte's daughter hasn't seen in over a year.
Back in March, when the closures happened because of COVID, her doctors had advised us to not bring her into school.
This suggestion came because Juliana, Aponte's daughter, could lose her life if she caught COVID-19.
So my daughter was born with a congenital genetic condition. It's a rare disease called Alagille syndrome. It affects her liver, her heart, her kidneys, her pancreas, basically every major system in her body.
Now schools have opened back up, but Juliana remains learning virtually.
We were told to self-isolate and not go out into the community unless we had to.
Like Aponte, there are many parents in a similar situation. Alachua County Public Schools are not at full capacity, but they've seen an increase in the number of children who have transitioned back to in-person learning.
We had about 42% of our students who were attending school in person when the school year began. That's now up at around 70%, and more students are returning all the time.
But where's the remaining 30%? About 6,000 students remain in Digital Academy, while the other 1,000 attend Alachua eSchool.
Students do not have that live learning that they get through the Digital Academy, and if they want to do all of their math in the middle of the night, they can do that.
For the 2019-2020 school year, Alachua eSchool had about 200 students. This year, enrollment is 5 times higher with 1,000 students. That huge increase could impact the district's school funding because the state funds the county's eSchool students at a significantly lower rate.
The state funds that at 70%, so you only get 70% of the funds that you would for a brick and mortar student.
Johnson says the county receives between $7,000 and $8,000 for each in-person student. It would lose about $2,000 for every one in eSchool.
Under the governor's proposed budget, we would lose about $2.3 million in funding. Now, whether or not the legislature decides to go with the governor's recommendation, we have absolutely no idea.
One thing we do know, Alachua County Public Schools will lose about $2,000 for Aponte's daughter. She won't be going back anytime soon.
Most kids won't get infected from this, or most kids won't get severe disease from this. But do you really want to take a chance on that? And, I've seen perfectly healthy children go into, this inflammatory disease.
A risk she's not willing to take. Aponte's priority, protect her daughter at all costs. Pamela Combe, WUFT News. She wakes up, grabs a cup of coffee, and heads straight to the median on Archer Road. For the last 2 years, this has been Jennifer D'Amato's daily routine, making just enough to get by.
Like that's your everyday hope is that you'll make enough to get a room and food and stuff for the night, but that rarely happens.
She believes the way to do that is by standing in the median. This opportunity could be taken away if the new ordinance to ban standing or sitting in street medians passes.
In the middle, you're right there, people are turning, you're right in their line of view, so you get a lot more help.
According to the Gainesville City Commissioner Harvey Ward, this ordinance received positive feedback. He wants the community to understand that it's a matter of safety.
It's not aimed at people asking for money. It's aimed at anyone standing in a median that is smaller than 6 feet.
Ward says this idea emerged after a panhandler was killed by a car back in April 2019.
It's something that I lose a lot of sleep over as a city commissioner, knowing that at least one life has been lost because someone was in the median.
For some people, medians are more than just a piece of concrete dividing traffic. It signifies income. If this ordinance gets approved, this will no longer be the reality.
I know it's dangerous and a lot of people get hurt that way, but I think it should be up to the person whether they want to take the risk.
That's dangerous. No matter who you are or why you're there, I want you to live to do that thing you're trying to do another day.
Ward says the goal is to make streets safer. D'Amato says she finds safety in her income that she believes will be cut in half if the measure is passed. Pamela Combe, WUFT News.
We found this loss can continue even after summer break. The Marion County School District calls it the COVID slide. Students are falling behind in their classes, and the blame is the pandemic.
Gabriela Goudet is just one of many parents who saw her kids struggle since new safety measures were implemented in schools.
Es lo mismo estar en el salón de clase.
It's not the same as learning traditionally in the classroom.
And there's an added obstacle they had to face, the language barrier.
Tenía que tomar tiempo de mi
I had to take time off from my job to help them. I would help them translate and would even do their homework. The learning was not for them, but for me.
The dream she had about her kids attending school turned into a nightmare.
Horrible.
Horrible. Horrible. Aside from the fact that we didn't have enough devices, we didn't have 2 laptops.
I felt not frustrated but intimidated. I would call my friends and ask, "Did you understand? What did he say? What does he want us to do?"
Trying to learn the language while coping with their feelings made learning much more difficult. However, it's not just them. After a series of tests, Marion County noticed kids in all grades and all backgrounds struggled during the pandemic. Marion County Public Schools Director of Public Relations, Kevin Christian.
We took that test the first quarter, things looked up, things looked promising. But when we took that test at the end of the second quarter, those results dipped, and that causes us great concern.
Marion County saw an average decline of 5 percentage points in kids grades 3rd through 5th. But according to Christian, this decrease is not only attributed to online classes.
Learning with a mask on, learning in a socially distanced classroom.
The district solution? Support.
We are looking at expanding summer school options, some of which we haven't offered in more than 10 years.
Goudet and her daughters are slowly overcoming the language barrier and this new way of learning. Despite their improvements, she says her daughters are still performing below their average capacity. A change back to normal is what she wants.